Imagine that someone you know is about to graduate high school. They come to you, they ask you what career path they should pursue, what university is worth applying to. It's been a while since you graduated from university. You don't know what's out there. It makes you wonder, is there an online community out there or maybe a resource that provides guidance to students who have just graduated high school with this really important and crucial stage in their life? Well, according to my guest on this episode of the Misaal podcast, not only does his startup help guide students, it also connects them with volunteer mentors that help them every step of the way. His name is Mahad Imran. He's a founder of Kis Uni, a community of current and former university students helping you choose the best university for you. Let's listen in. Welcome, Mahad, to the Misaal podcast. How are you?
I'm good. How about you?
I'm doing well. So thanks for joining and thanks for reaching out to me for being a guest. It's really appreciated when someone reaches out to me and it's eager to talk about their journey. So yeah, let's get started. Tell me a little bit about yourself, your background, and what problem are you solving with Kis Uni?
Thanks for letting me be on the podcast first. Well, my name is Mahad Imran. I'm from Pakistan. I am a sophomore at National University of Sciences and Technology, also known as NUST, majoring in geoinformatics engineering. Apart from this, I am the founder of Kis Uni. Kis Uni is Pakistan's first online mentoring platform for high school students. We basically connect high school students with university volunteers who are eager to help them. Along with this, we provide a number of valuable learning resources such as written application guides, a student-centric newsletter, podcast where we try to invite different inspiring students and share their stories. When I was graduating from high school, I was very fortunate to get accepted into top 4 institutes of the country, whereas that wasn't the case with my peers. So, well, I identified that there was a huge gap when it came to help with university admissions. All the consultancy firms and all the career counseling firms were focused towards sending people outside Pakistan and not within the universities in Pakistan. And also the schools didn't have any career counselors. So, well, I come from a very privileged schools. Sadipur school, it has been it is one of the top 10 schools in the country, but we didn't have a counselor. So, well, despite coming from such a privileged school, we didn't have a counselor. The situation at schools which don't have that much resources, the situation there is completely worse. Obviously, Pakistan cannot have to afford that much counselors according to the need. So what we tried to come up with, that we can connect high school students with high achieving university students, so that they can take any help. For example, people come to me how to choose their major when they are in university. The guidance they have is available is sometimes terrible. They are only restricted to advice from their relatives, who at oftentimes don't know much about the current situation or the on ground reality. So how we help them is that we can pair them with different students that can share their experiences. Basically, the information gap is bridged, and mentorship experience. Well, the students gets a mentorship from high achieving university students. So in my opinion, the high school students gets a head start when they're joining the university, apart from just feeling lost.
One question that came to my mind when I was looking into Kis Uni is when I was going to university, 2 people came and asked me what major they should select and all those things. These are very basic questions people ask their friends and family, right? But I, for some reason, did not go and create a platform for people to, ask this question with a lot of people, right? I didn't see the need for doing that. What was the reason? Did you talk about this idea with other students and maybe other friends of yours that said basically, you know what, there is a really dire need, and why don't we do something about this? And we can all volunteer as mentors, as coaches, as counselors, and maybe help these students out. Was that something that's what happened?
Yeah, so basically I was solving a problem for my friends. My friends weren't very lucky as I was. I remember there were 2 students in my class that scored perfect scores on their high school exams in A levels, but they didn't get into their dream universities. But I didn't have the perfect score on my A levels, but I did get into. So there was this problem that they weren't any less talented than me, but there was rather lack of guidance and access to resources. So well, when I was off to university and seeing my friends that they had to take gap years made me think of myself as a terrible friend, and to be honest, it just felt guilty. So, well, I was working with Xenos at the time. Xenos is a UK-based, student-led based nonprofit on a mission to end educational inequality for young people everywhere in the world. I was already inspired by the founder, Zubair Junjunia, who was also a student when he started building Xenos, sharing learning resources for students. So, well, I talked the idea with definitely with my, first with my closest friends, and then talked to him that I wanted to do this. Okay, then he this where also was also like the Pakistani market is huge, and it might be a viable solution. The next step was to go into research. Obviously, I was just a student myself. I had already experienced this, but it is always a good thing to have more research. So we realized that the problem was such at a much vast scale, not just with our high school, but the people coming from other schools also were facing this problem. So that's how we identified the problem. Coming on to why I wanted to build this, that's because when I was in high school, I was also giving a lot of career advice to my peers. I think I had somewhat matured early. That had to do with, I think I was very active on LinkedIn since my O levels. I joined LinkedIn in 2018 or 19. That's pretty early for a high schooler to go. And also I had elder siblings at home, so I had all the resources and guidance needed. So, but I didn't want others to be not feeling lost. So and I've always wanted to have a positive impact on the society, and that's why I founded Kis Uni.
So you're saying that everyone that is working with you right now is basically volunteering their
Yeah,
time, and that's pretty much it, right?
true.
So you're a sophomore right now, and then you will eventually graduate. Eventually move on to do other things and get a job, right? What happens with Kis Uni at that time? Like, are you going to pursue it always as a side, as a side project, maybe passion project, or is this something that you would hand on to someone else, maybe who's younger and who's more in tune with what's happening in the universities and admissions at the time?
That's a very good question, to be honest. So we have two plans. One of the plans is to make this work full time for us. We're trying very hard that we can somehow make this a proper business and completely work on it when we graduate. We are in the process of doing that. I have been reaching out to lots of people, lots of companies in this regard, but for some reason, if we are not able to do so, you know better than me, the startups always fail. 9 out of 10 startups fail. So at this point, on this, if that happens, that we are not able to make something, obviously when we graduate we have to do something for, like, for our financial motive. That's not something we can afford to do when we graduate. So the plan is, we can always have, seeing the trend among students that they're very willing to volunteer, we plan to have a board in that case where we become the advisors, and we hand over all the operations of the Kis Uni to the new young people that are coming, similar to what happens in the student societies at different universities.
It's great that you have already thought out a plan about that. So that's really great and interesting to hear from that point of view, that you already have a backup plan. So one thing that I usually ask my guests about building something is, like, there are a lot of assumptions that you go in with about doing things, right? Like, you think of a certain way of doing things, and then you go and you try do it, and it turns out you were completely wrong. What was one of those things that it turned out it was completely false, and then you had to figure out a different way to do it?
I think we had a lot of expectations that I would share a story actually. So we applied for the 11th cohort at National Incubation Center Islamabad. So for we made it pass through the initial interview, and it was the final interview, and the chances were very high. Around 75% of the applicants cleared that round, actually the last round which we didn't clear. So we had very high hopes, and we were, very uh, sure that we would get in, but the pitch went perfect according to us, and we were very happy at the end of the pitch. But the advice we got from the judges at that time was very, at the moment very heartbreaking, because we had as very ambitious young men, we had put in all our efforts and to build this product, and and you go and there, like, they say that, I remember his words, you need to go back to the drawing room and chart it out, how do you want to take this. Because well, at the moment I thought that this old man doesn't know that what the we are facing right now, and he probably thinks that this won't work, but I'll teach him, that I'll make it work for some reason. So that was, I think, so naive of me. But uh, in well, coming back to my O level days, so someone had told me, I don't know how did I get this idea, but it was in my mind that nowadays, if you have like a very good idea, like, people would invest into you. So, well, I thought, the idea has to be everything, but later on that I realized it's not about the idea, it's about the execution, and the it's not that easy to raise, especially if you're a student, and it's much more involved in the idea when people look to invest. No, we do have assigned roles. We have two other co-founders. We have four teams, and four teams have content leads, and and four team leads. Sorry, not the content leads. Content team is one of the teams we have. We have content team. We have design and development team. We have growth team, and lastly the community team. Everyone have their specific roles assigned, and they work on different things. But from time to time, we have different projects where we involve them to work on things that are not part of their role specifically, to promote more inter-team interaction and building bonds and friendships. Well, coming on to the decisions part, well, it's mostly the founders taking decisions, but we encourage our team before any taking a major decision. We put it there out there in our team chat, and we always seek out their opinions so they have a sense of ownership. I think the team I have right now is one of the best. The ownership they take of their work is very, what I can say is that very commendable. The ownership they take is very commendable, and on the team we have people from as young as from people from O levels, that is grade 10, and we have and as senior as university seniors in their uh, last years of universities. So we try to make our team as balanced and diverse as possible. We have people from all over the Pakistan thanks to the remote working environment. Well, for the younger people on the team, they sort of get mentorship through the seniors on the team, and I think it's a great experience for them. And as seniors, we always feel very good when we help other team members.
So I didn't hear you mention anything about the technical team, like who's making the website, who is like doing the technical things associated with the website.
Okay, so at the moment we don't have like a very good platform. We are just leveraging WordPress. So initially the website was built by us, including some help from from an from another guy, but we do have a volunteer who works who looks after the website, not like the major things, but if there's something that there are edits that need to be done, so we are covered on that front. But inshallah in the next year, as the uh, we are like all the founding team is from tech background. The other co-founders, one of them is majoring in computer science, the other one is majoring in software engineering. Inshallah by the three of next year we would have our own platform that we're trying to build as we speak. So well, at the moment we just wanted to get our little idea out there and test it in the market rather than preparing and planning and going for long plannings.
I know this from someone else that told me about Nust. That Nust has some sort of an internship program that everyone has to go through an internship or do something similar, some do some work during summers or things like that. So one idea that came to my mind when I was looking through your website is like, you could put up a page with all the interns or people who are looking for internships. You could put their names up, and people like me, or there's the tech industry is quite big, or the startup industry is quite big in Pakistan, and they're always looking for people to work on projects and stuff for experience purposes. And most of them, as far as I know, they do pay also. So I think that would be a good idea, just to put their names up so that people, if they want to reach out to them, they can reach out to them.
I think that's a very good idea. Well, coming on to, we have been working on something similar, but we were collecting opportunities for volunteering at social internships. At some universities, there's this requirement that you have to commit this much hours to community service. So we were working on that, but I think we should also look into the idea that you have.
One of the, some, of course, like we talked about assumptions, right? Like you had certain assumptions about like the idea and how the pitch will go and how you will be accepted to the incubators and accelerators and all that stuff, right? But what about the challenges? Like, what is it, something that you are facing right now that's become a big challenge? And, if you're trying to solve it, like how are you going about solving it?
So the biggest challenge we have right now is that we are not reaching the amount of people that we want to. We don't have a marketing budget to spend. So well, that's something that has somewhat lagged our growth. So we weren't looking for any grants yeah, just before, but now I'm very confident that with all the experience, it's been a year, almost a year, that we have been building this, so I feel very confident now. So in the next few months, inshallah, we are reaching out to a lot of people. We are making a list of people that we can and organizations that we can reach out to. Maybe they can help us fund this. Like, small grants will go a long way. So and the other challenge we have is we don't pay the team right now we have. So it's they are very committed, but sometimes they have to leave, and it's quite understandable that they are not getting any financial benefit out of this. So I think if we had like a proper team who had financial motive involved, we could have achieved even better. But to be honest, I'm happy with the way things are going. So the biggest problem, like the every startup has, is we also have is this finance, the funding. Well, apart from this, the other problem we have is, as students, sometimes people won't take us very serious, and also they are like, you're too young for this, or like you don't know, you're living. I've also heard that you're living in a bubble. You have to come out of it. Okay, and told. I was told by someone that people won't come to volunteer, and that was the terrible thing that I heard, because people reach out to me whenever you give a call for volunteering opportunities. The last time we had for more than 150 applicants without any proper marketing, just with the word of mouth. So, and I use and okay regularly I would meet people who might know about Kis Uni, and they would be like, "Yo, yo, Mahad, we would like to volunteer for this," because when I was applying for my university admission, I didn't have any access to resources, so I don't want this to happen for the others. So, well, that man was t- completely wrong about people not coming to volunteer with us. So, yeah, so that's some of the challenges we have.
This is, I mean, it's amazing that you're doing this to begin with, because when I was at the university, I'm like, दूसरी चक्करों में पड़े हुए थे, बच्चियों के चक्करों में पड़े हुए थे, and like you are at least doing something that's helping people. So that's really good. And as far as volunteers, people will always come and volunteer. Having run something similar to what you're doing, which is basically, soliciting, opinion pieces from people. People will always come and say like, "I'll write for you" and all those things, but that's not reliable, and it's never, sustainable. So that's the reason, like, you're getting so many, roadblocks in terms of like people not taking you seriously. But it's something that you have to go through to learn that how to deal with people in such situations. And I think you are smart enough to get through this and eventually figure out like funding and like a business model and start making money and all that stuff. So that's all great. So I know when we first start speaking, we talked about you, once you graduate, like there might be a change in like where you're going and all those things. So let's just say you do graduate and everything is going great. There is you see a path towards like sustainable revenue and all that stuff. Where do you want to take Kis Uni like 5 years from now, 10 years from now?
When we started, we had this very end goal of us that we are going to build Pakistan's first common application platform, because at the time we don't have a common app platform like such as the common app in the US or the UCAS in the UK. So we initially planned that at the end we would use Kis Uni to build attraction and credibility, and then eventually move towards building a common application platform. So coming on, why do we need a common application platform in Pakistan? At the moment, to be honest, the admission offices in the universities we have aren't very cooperative. If you call them, except from the top universities, the chances they won't even pick your call or reply to your mail, especially when in the government sector. The universities admissions offices are not very good, and on the applications portals, the every university has their own application portal, and they would need different types of things. So it's like a very expensive process as well, considering Pakistan is a developing country and we don't have a lot of folks that can afford. I remember that I spent over like at least 40,000 rupees in just for applying in my application fees and traveling for tests. So well, I know for sure that 40,000 is much more than some people's monthly salary in Pakistan. So we want to move towards building a common app platform so that students who don't have like proper financial resources to pursue their education can also pursue, because on there's no one there will be people going to uh, sponsor your education, or there are financial aids for people when they get into university. So but they are not scholarships or financial aid if you want to apply to a university. For example, in NAST Pakistan, the admission fee is the application fee is around 3,500 rupees. But if you are coming from a far-flung area in the southern Punjab, so you have to go to Islamabad to give the test. So if you add all the charges, all the fare, bus fare, and the if you are planning to stay, so that gets not very affordable for people, and especially for a single university. So well, they already are disadvantaged. Students coming from those areas, are already at a greater disadvantage. They don't have the same chances as other people do. We want to try to fix that. Yeah, so well, in the future we want to move towards building Pakistan's first common app platform.
Okay, that's really good, because basically building one application form for everyone to apply and like for all the universities to get the data. So I did another podcast with someone. He founded this service called Rahnumai Hafiz. So he tried to do the same thing. He tried to build an application platform where one common application could be used. Unfortunately, it's very difficult, especially in Pakistan, because you're challenging the status quo. So whenever there is an incumbent, involved, it's usually very difficult. And like you said, 3,500 rupees and all these different fees, like they add up. Like that's part of the revenue. So no one's gonna let you come and be like, yeah, take it, take our revenue from us and create this common application. So it's a very difficult thing to do, and this has to be sanctioned by the government from the top. That's the only way to do something like this. But all the best to you. Thanks for being on the Misaal podcast. It was lovely hosting you. Got to learn a lot about you, and you seem very ambitious, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for listening to the Misaal podcast. I hope you enjoyed the podcast and will thank me by writing a review or sharing it on social media. Make sure you follow and subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. Thanks again. See you soon.